Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I know I said I would be live at 11, and here it is, like past 11:30, and here I am. So sorry for the slight delay if you were here waiting earlier. But you know what? Sometimes life happens, and there's always the replay. So no matter when you're watching this, I sure appreciate you tuning in. I am Katie Rempe, your magical maker, and today we are going to be opening June's envelope for our 12 months of magical making inspiration, because really this can be applied to any craft or anything that you really want inspiration for. You could even use these just as journaling prompts if you didn't want to use them for like crafting purposes. So they're all just a way of helping you create constraint, right? Which a lot of times people are like, no, don't tell me what to do. But then as soon as you find yourself having like anything to do with no like limits on what you can do, it's like you get brain freeze, right? A lot of times. So by having constraints around what you are creating, it actually helps you come up with ideas and be more creative, which is a fun paradox to think of. So the next time you find yourself getting upset about creative constraints, ask yourself why. Okay, so just as a reminder, if this is your first time here, this is actually the perfect time to be here because it's June. And part of what we're going to do every month, we look back at the prior month to reflect on that before we move forward. But since this is June and we're now officially at our halfway mark through the year, this is a good opportunity to look at all the data we've collected, especially if you've been someone who has been journaling or recording, however, every month so far along with me. We're going to look back at everything back till January really quick, just to see what patterns are emerging, what might need more attention, is anything completing, do we need to tweak anything? It's a good time to just reassess. And as you'll find out, I'm even going to be changing my intention for the year. So I feel like I've actually sort of completed what I did, my aim, and now I'm going to do like a part 2 to it. So more on that in just a bit. Really quick, let's see. I just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting to say anything here. No, okay. So it's June. How is everything going so far? How's June going so far? This is the 6th today if you're watching live. So we're already into June a little bit. And for me personally, it has been feeling very quick. May was also very fast. There's a lot of things going on. I'm like mastering the juggling act. And so, when you have a lot going on, time goes. Last month, I was at the Fiber Witch Festival. It was awesome experience. I have the videos for my Knit a Spell podcast that have been coming out that have been reviewing them. I just put out one that had the day one experience and traveling there. I have probably at least 2 more coming for the vendors market, interviewing people in the line, connecting with the community, going to Circle of Stitches, all sorts of fun in Witch City in Salem. So if you haven't seen that, you can go ahead in my channel and find that video. And I hope you like it. So that is what's going on. May was very busy, as I said. So let's just take a quick moment before we go back for the whole year to reflect. Let's just look at May real quick as a reminder. So actually, you may recall, we're going to just kind of do the whole year anyway. Okay. So April, if you remember, was our sort of like lunar theme. There was Queen of Pentacles. There was Moon Phase. There was Sapphire in color. There was Artemis to be, someone that we were working with possibly. And then May was our solar month. So then it was like the Emperor, our crystal ball, the citrus pop, Neptune. So very like yin yang energy, which was pointed out in the comments. I very much appreciate when you guys comment because I really love knowing that I'm not just doing this by myself, even though it's apparently not stopping me. So there you go. And so let's look back even further to see what kind of energy might have been before that. So March, we had Hierophant, we had Mortar and Pestle, we had Lemon Chiffon, and we had Scrying. So that's kind of interesting. Not maybe so dissimilar to like the May energy in that it was like maybe a little bit more solar, maybe a little bit more like, quote, masculine, right? Energy with like the Hierophant and everything. Like a little bit of transformational, but also very like intuition. So it's almost like a little bit of both how April and May energy was. If we go back even further, so we had February, which was our Four of Wands. We had the Toad. We had Red Velvet as our color, the 5 energy from the numbers. And then we had Brigid Incense, which was our spell card. So, I mean, that is all very like looking within, lots of inner reflection. And then January, which started all of this off, we had 3 of Pentacles, we had a rat's doodle, we had charcoal, which ended up being the number 8, and then we also had the Come to Me oil. So I would say that's like a lot of good energy to sort of like start a thing. We started this whole series, we were starting the year, we're starting all of that like fun pop, start with a bang kind of a thing. And so looking back here, and I hope you do the same thing, what I have been doing this whole time is not only just going back to look at the previous month, but I would also go back to the other months just to see like if anything made more sense or if I wanted to add a little note. And when I do, I have like a zillion pens because I'm that person with like a zillion pens. This is just a handful of pens. And so I like to pick different colors for when I'm going back to make notes later. So I have like in here all sorts of different like colors and highlighters and everything I put a date on. So I will be like, oh, right, at this point, I made this note. And then later I made this other note because then this happened. So that's why keeping a record, even though it could kind of seem like a drag at the time, it is a gift to your future self. I promise it's worth taking like the 1 minute that you could do it in to have like a lot of return in your investment, I think. So just try it and see. Okay, so having looked back at this, because I looked a little bit longer before we went live, there is one thing that I am seeing that I have basically said every month, repeated, which is inner wisdom, trust in inner knowing, trust your gut, the divine, like, intuition sort of a thing. So I'm really seeing a message here for me, like overall, not just in crafting, but certainly in like, my whole first year intention was I craft with passion and community, and following your intuition towards that. If it feels good on the inside, if you're not hurting anyone, go towards it. So I think maybe this was my reminder to do that. So yeah, I'm seeing this as my sign, possibly. If you have any that you're noticing right now and you're here live with me, feel free to drop them in the chat, or if you're here watching it later, comment. Be interested in your reflections. Hold, please. I'm going to get a brief hydration. Perfect. So yes, again, inner knowing, and like I even underlined it here, right? The moon phase, this is your inner knowing. Crystal ball in May, inner knowing. So, the scrying spell card. So there's a lot of like, perhaps just learning to trust myself, trust my gut, which is funny because I always used to say like, oh, trust your knitter's intuition. And the only way to do that is by constantly ignoring it and then seeing like, oh yeah, I should have done that thing, rip it out initially instead of waiting until I made 2 more inches to be like, I still hate that thing. So anyway, so it can go towards, it doesn't have to just be like this huge, like, I must pay more attention. It can just be like as easy as, hey, guess what? I started a crochet project. I am not much of a crocheter. I really don't know what I'm doing. I know just enough to do stuff, but not enough to be like, let's make this a pattern for people. So So there's that. But it's been making me so happy because it's so different. And it has been, for me, a real joy to have kind of a new craft that is a little bit of a distraction, but also isn't like for anyone else. No offense, guys. Um, it's just for fun. It's just as like a little skill builder. And, if things go well, maybe I can make patterns in it at some point soon. So, with this half of the year energy that we're in, you just never know. So I invite you to take time to reflect on all of your notes so far before we move into opening our June envelope. And if you need to pause, feel free. But we're live, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to do it now. Okay, here we go. Let's June. What we got? Drives me nuts that I always ruin that part. Okay. First, we're going to do our tarot card, which is 5 of Swords. Ooh, a little inspired competition. So this, I'm going to save interpretations for the end. So 5 of Swords. Okay. Here are swords, our, they're the knitting needles. Right. 5 of Swords. Okay. Our doodle is, interesting, the potions shelf. Little beakers and potions bottles and candles, maybe? I'm not sure what these are. Okay, next we're going to do the color, which is number 85, lavender. Okay, and then finally, we have our spell card, which is Bed of Roses. A spell to mend a broken heart, release trauma, and reinvigorate the heart chakra, which honestly is very needed for me right now. So maybe for all of us, right? Okay, so take a moment, take notes, what we got here. 5 of Swords, potions shelf, got lavender, we got a bed of roses. So we have lavender and roses, which is very like, I want to say like female energy. So like, again, we're going from sort of a more male forward energy, maybe into more female forward energy. A really good time for clearly some self-care. Lavender is perfect for this type of energy in terms of like releasing and calming things down. That's lavender's gig. So of course, now I'm thinking like, oh, you could literally knit a little lavender pouch and then fill it with lavender and put it like under your pillow. A lot of people do that. It's very soothing. You can keep it in your purse if you need like a little emergency, like sniff and chill moment. It's like the healthy glue. Maybe I'll make like a little pattern for that. Okay, so there's that. And then of course, we have our potions shelf, which, if we're making like either a bath blend, because you could put rose petals and lavender in a nice, like relaxing bath. It can become very ritualistic. You can use this card perhaps as, okay, so let's just talk for a minute about this 5 of Swords. A lot of people might interpret it as like conflict. And I agree it's conflict, but not in terms of like argue. Well, it could be arguing, but more of like a discussion, more of like debate, more of like, that friendly rival. So it's more like two really enthusiastic parties who are trying to get a point across, but willing perhaps to listen to each other after the banter. The banter is what is going to um, make the change happen, because swords are all about like ideas. So in terms of your making, if you feel as though either you're playing like the comparison game, maybe it's time to release that, grow out of it kind of, or to see that as like a fun challenge, I guess. Like fives, I think of as challenges, and then sevens, I think of as choices. So even though sometimes they're looked on as bad cards, they are like challenge cards, literally. So this you could come to a point where one of your ideas or thoughts are challenged by someone else. But in this scenario, I see it being like something you didn't realize, or a previous idea that you were like, oh, I didn't think cables would be that easy, or I never considered doing mosaic as a way to add color in a place, or whatever. This person who is going to show you a new way to look at things, if you can just sort of put your ego to bed for a second and put a little wonder in your head, I think it could be like really interesting to see how a new idea comes to you. Maybe this person's going to teach you a new technique. So, like, maybe you just need to kind of step back in the ways that you're used to doing things to let a new way of doing things possibly make it like way better. I used to be a English style knitter, the thrower. And then I saw a friend of mine back when I used to work at the yarn store who was the continental knitter, the picker. And I saw how much faster she was knitting, and especially with purling. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I have to do that. And she graciously taught me how to do it. And I found a pattern that I didn't like care about the gauge being all wacky. And I just used that to knit and get used to doing everything and retrain myself, because I would pick up the knitting again and be using it to go the other way that I used to do. So it took like months, really, of invested like retraining of my brain to make that change. But when I did, I have never looked back. It has changed my whole knitting life. It is like made something I enjoy doing into something that's even more enjoyable to do, and I'm more comfortable doing, because it's less rotating use on my wrist. It was great. So I invite you to find a way to challenge a previous believed notion this month, because it could open up amazing things, which also is sort of like this, right? Try a new potion and learn where it goes. Maybe you're dyeing yarn this month, or you have like need to cleanse some old, like, is this the month that you're going to bring all your winter things out and like give them a little air? We're going to kind of clean them up a little bit. Maybe there's like knitted items that just need to be blocked. You could actually you could use that energy for, speaking of blocking, this is a perfect month to create blocking water, because it's June, right? And with June comes the summer solstice. And this month it's on the 21st. And so you could make moon water from the solstice, and you could use it for like a super high charged blocking for, well, anything. And if you're conservative about how do you keep the water and keep adding water as you're using it, you'll never run out accidentally. So maybe making some solstice moon water this month would be a really great way. You could add it to this moon bath. Make a moon bath. Oh my gosh, with lavender and roses and, potions, a little wine or something. Unless you're, not over there, you could do a soda pop. That's pretty good too. And if you find that, again, if you're conflicted about something, maybe you let it go. Or if somebody comes to you with a new learning opportunity, perhaps take them up on it. So a good growing month, right? We got roses, we got lavender, we're growing, we're creating potions. So make things, but also make time to just give yourself a break. Enjoy the summer. Use that summer energy, especially if you're here in the Northern Hemisphere and watching this in June or ish. And if you're not watching this in June-ish, let me know when you're watching this, because you could watch this really anytime and apply this to any month. Like this could be the winter, or it could be whenever your heart desires, creative one. So thank you, as always, for joining me here. I don't know if you've ever looked in the description here, but I have a free little workbook that is a year of making, and it is a great companion to use with this whole series that I'm doing. And it has, little prompts and everything that you can use without having to do it yourself. Makes it super easy. If you want, it's free, linked in my description. Oh, shoot. Before we go, pattern poll. Pattern poll. Gosh, okay, sorry. Psych. Pattern poll. All right. What is the pattern this month that we're going to get some inspiration from? Because much like Netflix and whatnot, streaming services, Ravelry can be kind of like a black hole of your time when you're like, I just want to find something to knit. And now it's been an hour and I still don't know what to knit. So, I got 2. Oh, they're perfect. Oh my God, they're perfect. They're perfect. You saw me do this, okay? You saw me do this live. They are Sun Tea. Oh, sorry. Sun Tea, which, hello, Solstice. Perfect. Thank you, Sun Energy. And Flip Floppers, which are my toeless socks that I make out of Haiku Kobasi, which is a cotton bamboo elastic blend. So it's like a summer appropriate sock yarn that won't get saggy. Yes, I used to work as Cassell, so I know all the buzzwords. And my Sun Tea, which is a worsted weight t-shirt in 2 colors that I did out of woolly worsted, the UU yarn. It is so quick to make. It's great to have like under a tank top, or it's just like a nice little layering tee as things get chilly in the summertime. But let's consider that neither of these patterns are anything you're interested in. Some other things you can consider as these being the patterns that we pulled for the summer are, if you're looking for something fun and new, make a fun summer project. Like, who cares who it's for, and who cares like if it's something silly like toeless socks. Like, just do something fun and enjoy the summer. Get that joyful sunny energy in you. Or you could also look at this as like, if you're looking for creative constraint in what to pick, maybe you either do a fingering weight project, since this is out of sock yarn, or you do a worsted weight project because this is out of worsted weight yarn, or you just do a tea pattern. Find a tea you like, even if it's not this one, or you find a sock pattern you like. These are really great. If you're traveling over the summer, sock patterns are always a great one to do because they're super easy to just shove in your bag, do when you have a minute. And if you're doing like basic socks, which is kind of most of my socks are like pretty easy, travelable, not too difficult, then you can like pick it up and put it down without having to worry about losing your place. So just helps you keep something in your hands to do outside of doom scrolling, like be a little productive, having your brain have a little resting space, which if any of these cards are an indicator, having fun, self-care, and, just enjoying that sun energy is a good reflection on what to expect possibly from this month. So hold on one second. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, if you want a couple of reflection questions, especially as we are looking back all the way through the year, here are a few for you that you can take a note of. Okay, number 1, looking back to January, what themes or patterns have appeared more than once? Like mine. So looking back at January, what themes or patterns have appeared more than once? Okay, number 2, what insights makes more sense now than it did earlier in the year? What insights make more sense now than they did early in the year? And finally, what feels ready for more attention during the second half of the year? And on that note, before we go, because apparently I'm just forgetting everything today, my altered intention, my sort of new half of the year through intention. So it was, as I said, I craft with passion and community. And now that I went to the Fire Witch Festival and I'm doing all the videos for it, I feel like I really accomplished this goal. And so now, as sort of like the next step, everything was all about like getting things ready and doing videos and all of that. And now I'm sort of like, you know what I really want a return of? Like doing the actual craft. I haven't really like knit a lot. I've been doing the crochet project, which has helped me spur back on a desire to do more handcrafts. But it wasn't really until like very recently that I'm like, man, I'm really ready for like a new knitting project, a new knitting pattern. And I think this like half of the year energy, like reset is part of the reason. And so my new revised intention for the rest of the year is I craft like crazy. I'm just going to try to like be doing something all the time. Sometimes you just have to force yourself into the mood of crafting and making to spark something interesting that will keep you going. Or you do it for 5 minutes and you're like, okay, that's enough. And, then tomorrow's another day. Okay, now I think I'm done. Yes, okay, so thank you so much, as always, for joining me. I hope you'll share in the comments what stood out for you. What patterns are you noticing if you're following along in your life and in your crafting? What are you making right now? And anything else you want to share, I would love to hear from you. So thanks as always for joining me. Subscribe, please. It's really helpful and it's free. And I will see you next time. Merry Make.